Good morning, everybody. Lots of people tuning in early. That's what we love to see. We're going to be started here in about 2 or 3 minutes. We'll give everybody a chance to log on before we start. Hi, Mom. Nice to see you tuning in bright and early. Hey, Curtis. How we doing today? Wow, my mom, my dad, my mother-in-law, and my boss, and my father-in-law all watching. No pressure for me. Do appreciate the support, though, guys. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? Hey, Glenn, how you doing today? Hello to everybody at the Goddard School. Thanks for joining us. This here is a Goldeny tarantula. Hi, Colt. How are you? Hey, Ronnie. Thanks for tuning in. All right. I'll put the lid on for just a minute. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Tad Yankowski. I'm the senior entomologist here at the Butterfly House. And thanks for joining us for today's snack chat, where we are going to be talking all about predator animals. Many of the predator animals we have here are venomous, and so we have to be a little careful with how we handle them. But we have a few other things like praying mantids that we'll see that are also predators but are not very venomous. We will first go over some of our animals that we have here, and then I'll pause and answer some questions. And then the second half of the video, we will do some feeding. So if you want to see how we feed our tarantulas and scorpions and things like that, you're welcome to stay tuned for that. But we will be feeding them live crickets. And so that's up to you if you want to decide to turn it off at that point, or you can keep on and learn all about these animals and how they feed and how they eat and how we take care of them. So we'll go back to the bench over here. That first animal I showed you was our Goldeny tarantula. These are cool animals. She was starting to climb. It looks like she's settled down. So I just put the lid on just to be safe, but it looks like she's calm now. We'll bring the camera down in and so you can see her. Beautiful animal. She is a close relative of the curly hair tarantula or the Chilean rose hair tarantula. A lot of those tarantulas do get pretty big, and they're usually pretty docile. And you can see she's got these beautiful stripes up and down her legs. A lot of times people want to know how old our tarantulas are or how old they can live. And somebody asked me yesterday when I was actually at the store, what is our oldest animal? And I had to think about it and I wasn't sure. But now that I reviewed some things, I think this is probably our oldest animal that we have. This was actually a donation to us by someone who is now a volunteer. And many years ago, she donated it to us. And her son had it as a pet, and it eventually got to the point where they could no longer take care of it, and we decided to take him off her hands. And this guy is probably between 10 and 15 years old. Up until recently, we had a tarantula that was about 28 years old before she passed away last year. It was kind of sad. But I think this lady here is probably closing on 15 years old, and I think she's probably our oldest animal. Yeah, she's trying to sneak up the corner. We're going to put her down. By the way, this is Jimmy the Jellyfish. A very good friend of mine named Colt. He's 7 years old. He made this for me and sent it in. It's a magnet, and I love it. And today, that is going to be our placeholder. All right. This one's going to be a little bit of a stinker. She's kind of hiding right now. I'm going to open the lid just a little bit, and we'll see if we can get a good look at her through the side. This here is a salmon pink bird eater. Let's see if this is a little bit better. She was out just until we went live, and then she decided to go under her wood there. It's a little tough to see, but she's in there. Salmon pink bird eaters are one of the largest tarantulas in the world when full grown. This one is still very much a baby compared to full grown size. It's a little hard to see her, but we'll see if she comes out later. You can see her legs just peeking out there. When these are full grown, they can be about the size of a dinner plate. And they can live for a very long time. Now, there are some species of tarantula that you can handle and easily and safely maneuver and be around. The Lasiodora here, the salmon pink bird eater, is not one of those spiders, so I'm not going to reach my hand in there to try to get her to come out. Now this is a really cool one. This, if you are lucky, you could encounter here in the wild in Missouri. This is one of the native species of tarantulas. This is about full-grown size. It is maybe 2 or 3 inches long. It's not the largest tarantula by any means, but it's probably the largest spider you can find here in the state of Missouri. I think they're very, very beautiful. We can go in for a close-up here. Now you see those 2 little dots? They're right in the center of the screen there. Those are actually her eyes. They have pretty poor vision. They see sort of a blurry mosaic pattern of what we see. But they don't have incredibly good eyesight because their eyes are so tiny and relatively simple. Now, some people ask, do we have any deadly species of tarantula? And that's a really easy question to answer because there's no such thing. A lot of times people think that there's tarantulas that could kill you with their bite, but the reality is most tarantulas don't have any interest in biting you. And even if they did, it might hurt a little bit, but they're not going to be what we consider medically significant or certainly not life-threatening. That said, we're always careful when we're handling them because we don't want to scare the animal and risk it getting injured or have it bite us. Now we're going through some of these a little quick because we will be revisiting a lot of them when we go do the feeding here in a few minutes. This was one of our animals from this week's quiz about the close-up pictures. Maybe you guys saw one of these. Oh, she's going to hide. Are you going to hide? You're not going to be a stinker, are you? Let's see if I can. Yeah, she's going to come out the other side. And then this side. She's just going to play. She's going to play hard to get. But you can see those legs right there. That is the tarantula we featured this week. This is the Brazilian white-knee tarantula. And they get their names because they have those white knees. Now, I thought she might be a little hard to see, so I have something special to show you. This won't run away at all. This is the shed skin of a tarantula, of a Brazilian white-knee. When they grow, they do what's called molting. They have an exoskeleton like all arthropods, just like insects do, or even things like crabs or lobster. They have to shed their skin in order to grow. And the top of their head basically opens up like a can of corn, and then they crawl out through the hole where their head used to be. And you can see inside there all that silvery stuff that was part of their breathing system, their respiratory system. And the legs and everything are now hollow because that is just their hard exoskeleton that's left behind when they crawl out. And then they form a new exoskeleton that's bigger, and that's how they grow. We'll flip this one over. They even shed their fangs. You can see those big fangs right there. Pretty cool. This is the same species, just from a baby. So you can tell how much they can grow over time. This one probably will be about this size and about 2 or 3 molts, maybe a year and a half or 2 years. But we have lots and lots and lots of different animals here that molt and shed their skin, and we save a lot of them just because it's really cool. Even things like scorpions do it too. Here is the shed skin from a scorpion. This was an emperor scorpion, one of the largest, if not the largest species of scorpion in the entire world. And it's nearly perfect molt, which is kind of cool. With scorpions, you often don't get their molts afterwards because they'll either break down really fast or they'll eat them. And so for it to look this perfect is really cool. And we have even more to show too. So we always save lots of them just because they're so cool. All right. Next up, we have something that I can pull out and show you up close because he's pretty harmless. This is Bob. He's a vinegaroon. Now, Bob looks really scary and gnarly, like a prehistoric, monster or creature or something. But the truth is, Bob is very friendly. Bob, I say, is like a puppy dog with 8 legs, and he can't hurt you at all. He is called a tailed whip scorpion. He has this very long tail on his back here, and then these long front legs that he uses to feel around. Those tiny little dots right there are his eyes, and Bob is nearly blind. He's nocturnal, meaning he's active at night. And when he's out during the day like this, he's a little confused. Why is it so bright, and why are you picking him up, and all these sort of things. But the reality is he just wants to hide, and if I were to put him down, he'd be happy going back under his piece of wood here to hide. Now, other than being called a tailed whip scorpion, he is also called a vinegaroon because Bob has one very cool self-defense trick. If he gets startled or scared, he can make a chemical that's almost pure vinegar come out of his backside. It's almost the exact same chemical that we use to flavor salt and vinegar potato chips. So next time you're eating a bag of salt and vinegar potato chips, know that it's the same chemical that this guy will squirt in the mouth of a lizard or a bird to scare it away. And I think that is pretty cool. And Bob here, it looks like he's got these big pinchers up front. This looks like a stinger, but it's not. It's just a tail he uses to feel. And he is completely safe to hold. And he's never bitten anyone. He can't sting. He has no venom. Bob's just a puppy dog. But I'm going to put Bob back. I could talk about Bob all day, but I've got lots of other friends to bring out here too. All right. Now I'm going to see if this guy will come out. He's been a little bit shy lately. This was another one that was featured along with Bob the Vinegar, and this was another one that was featured in our close-up animal photo this week. And this guy likes to stay hidden. I'm going to see if I can get him to come to the surface by rooting around just a little bit here. We'll see, make sure I'm not going to poke him or anything. Sometimes if I do this, he'll come up to investigate and see if I'm something he needs to scare away, or maybe I'm food. Let's see, where are you hiding? Are you going to come up? Oh, I think I saw some movement. You going to come up and check us out? He's moving around. See all that dirt moving? We'll zoom in a little bit, see if we can see him. Leave it just like that. I'm going to come out. There's a little bit more. So this is a desert centipede. It's called, the scientific name is Scolopendra polymorpha. And if anybody's ever had a centipede as a pet out there, they probably had a Scolopendra genus. And these are the largest centipedes in the world. This is probably the second biggest species of centipede you can find in North America. There is one larger species called Scolopendra heros, and you can actually find it in the wild here in Missouri, although it doesn't get all the way up to St. Louis. All right, I'm going to pick him up, and I'll see if I can get him out real quick. There we go. He is a very fast predator. I'm going to take you in close to him. We'll follow him around. He's probably not real happy with me right now because I sort of gave him an eviction from his home. But, you know, they have a little bit of spare time, and so this will give him something to do later today. I'll put that wood back in, and he'll make the burrows back under the wood. It didn't hurt him or anything. This centipede we collected in Tucson, Arizona. All right. All right. Sorry, Bob. A lot of people asked us about the native spiders that we have here and if any of them are dangerous. We won't open the lid of this, but I'll bring this one in. This is one that is a little bit potentially dangerous, at least. Let's see, we'll move them around so the light's not reflecting. This is a black widow. You can find these here in Missouri, in St. Louis County. We've had a few people report seeing them and bring them to us. The further you go out into the country, you seem to see them a little bit more frequently. These can give a pretty significantly painful and serious bite, so you never would want to pick them up or handle them. But the good news is these guys are usually pretty eager to run away from you. And the few times that I've gone out and tried to catch them, they are very quick to go to their hides, and they almost always have a hide nearby, something hollow like a hollow stem or the trunk of a tree, or oftentimes I find these on the bottom of like picnic tables in parks, but they are quick to hide inside of like the legs of the picnic table that are hollow and stuff. So if you're around, you rarely will encounter them because they want to hide from you, and they're active mostly at night. You can sort of see the red hourglass. It's a little bit tough with the reflection of the container, and I can't really take her out. But you might be able to see that red hourglass there peeking through. Now, she is a pretty old black widow. We actually got her in 2017, which is kind of cool that we've had her for 3 years. Next, we have the very famous brown recluse spider. If you live in Missouri, you probably are familiar with this guy or girl here. Let's see if we can see her. There we go. So she's right there. This is about the average size for one you'd see in your house or your backyard or in your garage, something like that. They're about the size of a dime or a nickel with their legs all the way stretched out. The good news is that these guys can't bite you on their own. They sort of need assistance to be able to break your skin. And so if they were just to walk across your arm or something like that, it probably couldn't bite you even if it wanted to. But if they get caught and pressed against you, like in a pair of socks or shoes or in gloves or maybe in the pocket and you put your hands in the pocket, if they're pushed against your skin, they can bite you. Sometimes you will get a dangerous venomous bite from them that can result in sort of a necrotic lesion that doesn't heal very well. But the good news is that most bites, they believe, are medically significant. You may not even know that you got bit, or it may be like a mosquito bite that heals. And a lot of the times that people get diagnosed with a brown recluse bite in the hospital, it was probably a bacterial infection. They actually think that over 90% of spider bites that are diagnosed in hospitals are probably misdiagnosed. One of my favorite stats is, I think it was Maine a year or two ago, they had 10 brown recluse bites that were identified at the hospitals in Maine, and there's never been a brown recluse that's ever been found in Maine in the wild. All right. Here is an animal, though, that we do have to be very careful with, and it does have a little bit of a dangerous reputation that is deserved. See if I can zoom in. There we go. This is called an Arizona bark scorpion. It's not very big, and this one is still a juvenile. It's got a little growing left to do, but it doesn't get very big. Maybe 1.5 to 2 inches at the most when full grown with its legs stretched out. But this is a species of scorpion native to the United States that does have venom that's powerful enough that it could potentially really injure someone or even worse. These guys have resulted in death from their stings before. So we treat them with a lot of respect and a lot of care if we ever have to move them in containers or things like that. The good news is it's not very good at climbing plastic, and so here in the cup like this, it's pretty safe to have it open and show you guys. Some people ask, is it true that with scorpions, if they have sort of thin pinchers versus big meaty pinchers, does that mean that they're more dangerous? And oftentimes that is the case. These animals are going to have protection one way or the other. If they have strong chemical protection, they won't need as strong physical protection to be able to pinch or grab. Whereas a lot of the a lot of the scorpions that have large, meaty claws that they can really give a mean physical pinch, well, they don't need quite as strong venom to protect themselves. But when in doubt, it's always a good idea that if you see a scorpion, you should just leave it where it is and don't try to pick it up or mess with it. A close relative of these guys actually lives right here in St. Louis County and the city. I've had multiple people bring me pictures of scorpions that look very similar to this that they found in their basement. And that is a related type of bark scorpion. It can give sort of a painful sting that might ruin your day, but it's not going to really affect you very much beyond that. All right. And this is the guy that you saw the molt of earlier. This is an emperor scorpion. This is the largest scorpion in the world. This guy is still a juvenile. We obtained a few babies. We actually got these from Disney Animal Kingdom, who bred them and had a few extra they sent us, so we appreciate that. This one is maybe halfway to being full grown. They're very shiny, Very cool animals. And you can see he has very large pinchers, and that goes along with a story that his stinger there, called a telson, is venom is not very dangerous. I would not want to get stung by him, but the reality is it would probably be more like a bee sting. So the final animal we're going to pull out real quick and show you are the praying mantids that we've got. You may have seen our pictures or read the articles in the paper. We recently received some confiscated praying mantids from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. These animals were imported illegally into the United States, and originally the Customs Department intercepted them and then gave them to U.S. Fish and Wildlife to deal with. And then we have a good relationship with some of the officers from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and rather than euthanize these animals that were illegally imported, they reached out to us. We were able to secure permits for all of them, and right now in the lab with me are about, many hundreds of baby praying mantids. This one right here is an orchid mantis. It's still pretty tiny, although it's grown a lot since it hatched. This one hatched on the 26th of March, so we're less than a month old still. And it's starting to get its adult coloration. They'll turn white and pink as they're adults, and they're very pretty. He's still probably less than half an inch long. And these guys will be about 3 or so inches when they're full grown. You can see there's another one right there, and you can see a little pink on that one. So every day we feed and water all of these animals because they like to have lots of food and they like it nice and humid. Because they're molting a lot, they're shedding their skin a lot as they're growing, and they need it to be nice and humid to do that. This is the egg case of the orchid mantids. That's what they came out of. There is about 30 or 40 eggs bundled together right in there, and when it's time they all erupt sort of at the same time. You get a little baby mantis eruption, which is pretty cool to see. I'll show a couple other of our mantids really quick. These are ghost mantids. Really neat looking guys, kind of gnarly. Kind of look like dead leaves that they blend in if they're hiding on a plant. And I think they've got a cool, almost like a little mohawk there on their head. It looks pretty neat, little crown. Almost look like little aliens. So we have, I think, 6 species of mantids that hatched. Some of them we received for the first time ever through this seizure, which was really cool. Those ghost mantids, it was the first time we've ever had them. I'll show this guy right here too. This is a deadleaf mantis. This is our largest one that we have right now. It's up to being over 1 inch long. See him right there. Zoom out just a little bit. Still very thin. Helps them blend in when they're on the plants. They look kind of like a dead stick at this point. But before long, their wings will start to get bigger. They'll get big wing buds, and then they get big wings as adults. And they look very much like a dead leaf. They blend in very well on the plants. We have over 100 just of this species right now. All right, buddy, let's put you back in there. There you go. All right, so I'm going to show off Bob for a minute here while I review the questions, if anybody has asked any that haven't been answered yet. And then when we're done, in just about 2 or 3 minutes here, we will feed some of these animals, so you're welcome to stick around for that. But if you're a little nervous about that, we will be feeding live crickets to the animals, so if you want to say goodbye, now is a good time for that. But you're welcome to stay tuned. Let's see. Robin and Alice wonders if any mantid species is venomous. No. Mantids are not venomous. They rely on what's called raptorial forelegs, those big front legs. They grab a hold of their prey and they eat them that way. They don't have anything to sting or give any venom to them. Do they tickle when they walk on you? Some of them definitely do. Right now, those mantids are so tiny that I hardly feel them. It's like nothing's there at all. Don't know which I love more, scorpions or tarantulas. Stephanie, I know that you really love tarantulas more. Stephanie used to work here. Hi, Gray. Thanks for tuning in. Gray's our old entomology intern from last year. It's nice to see him back. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for tuning in. Anna, good to see you. Morning, Tammy. Morning, Adam. Reviewing all the questions, scrolling back through all the comments. Hi, Sally. Thanks for tuning in again. Sally used to volunteer here for many years. We do miss you, Sally. Garrica, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Loving all the comments. Hi, Ella. All right, guys, so we're going to get set up here in just a few seconds. We'll start feeding these animals. And so we have lots of crickets. They're going to be their lunch today. I'm going to put you back on the stand here. We'll zoom in just a little bit. Now, some of these animals, like Bob here, we've been handling, so they may or may not take their food. Some of them will take them probably right away, and others may be a little uncomfortable from the lights and movement. So there's no guarantee that everything will eat, but I suspect some things will. These are crickets. These are going to be today's lunch. We have big crickets, and we have little crickets for some of our smaller things. And, oh, of course, just as it's lunchtime, Bob decides to hide under his log. We'll open him up. We'll see if he's hungry or not. Do you want a cricket? Are you interested? Let's see. Give him a second. It's lunch, really. I know you. Bob is a pig, too. He loves to eat crickets. So he's probably just a little nervous. Let's see. Any interest in that? Oh, he's thinking about it. Yeah. Bob's a little nervous because of all the bright lights and stuff. A little camera shy. I understand that, Bob. I'm going to put him aside. If I notice that he grabbed the cricket, I'll come back to him. But I suspect he may end up eating him this afternoon. Let's see. Let's try one of the emperor scorpions. They are usually not very shy. I'm going to drop a cricket in, and we're going to focus on him. The cricket's loose, and I'm going to get the cricket to walk towards him. Here he comes. There we go. So they don't mess around. They're going to give a nasty, strong pinch really fast with their claws. And that sort of ends it pretty quick for the cricket. And then he just kind of chows down on him. That's how they do that. It's kind of how nature works. All right, Next, we're going to bring back the Missouri tarantula here. It's also called a Tucson blonde, or a Texas blonde, or a Texas brown. They have a lot of different names. Let's see if he is hungry, or should I say, I think it's she. She's hungry. Oh, there we go. They usually don't mess around. Now you'll notice with their legs, they start to stand on their tiptoes usually after they grab a prey item like a cricket. And that's to stop the animal from being able to touch the ground and struggle and try to get away. And that's to keep the prey item where it is so it can't escape, and also it can't fight back and potentially hurt the spider. If any of you are curious, we did remove some of the tank furniture, the hides and things like that from some of these boxes just so it was a little bit easier to do the filming. Now, depending on how big the prey item is and how hungry she is, it may take her up to an hour or more before she finishes eating that cricket. So she'll just sort of hang on to it. Sometimes they chew it up into a little bit of a meatball as they go, but basically she'll just sit just like this for probably the next hour or more. Tarantulas don't live super exciting lives, but they have lots of spare time on their hands, so it doesn't matter if you just sit in a corner and eat a cricket for 2 or 3 hours. All right, we'll try this one again. Remember, she was being a little bit of a stinker and hiding. There she came out. Let's see if we drop a cricket in, if she goes for it. 3, 2, 1. There she goes. She's very quick when she's hungry. And just like the others, it's a little bit tough to tell because we're looking straight down at her on the camera, but she is very much standing up on her tiptoes, and she's got the cricket right under there. Sometimes she'll take 2 at once. We'll try tossing another cricket in and see if she grabs it. In 3, 2, 1. Yep, there she goes. But now she's kind of retreating under her burrow with her lunch. All right, the last thing I'm going to try to feed is this. Well, we may have 1 or 2 other things. Let's see. Next thing we'll do, let's see if we can feed this baby deadleaf mantis. They are not big enough to take a full cricket, but they have just gotten big enough that they'll take small crickets. We had been feeding them fruit flies. Now there is a cricket already in the container, so he may not be hungry or else he would have eaten that, but we'll see. We'll see if I dangle a cricket here in front of him, get his attention. He's kind of looking away from us right now. Yeah, he's a little weirded out because we were holding him earlier. You gonna eat it, or are you gonna go after that cricket? Let's see. You might be thinking about that other cricket. They move very slow and they're very patient when they're hunting. You can see he's kind of watching. Let's see if I can zoom in. It might be a little out of focus. My phone doesn't know what to look at. He's watching it. Here. Sorry if it's making you dizzy. Let's see if we can zoom in on him. There, he's watching that cricket right on top of him. I suspect, though, since we were handling him, it's going to take him a little bit to calm down before he's ready to have his lunch. But I do have a backup. This is a Regal jumping spider. These can be found here in the wild in Missouri. They get to be sometimes as much as an inch long. They're one of the larger jumping spiders we find around here. And these guys are voracious predators. And they will take down prey much, much bigger than they are. So this guy should be able to take down a full-size cricket. So you can see that cricket is probably bigger than him. But I'm going to pop him in and we'll see. All right. Let's see if he goes for him. I hope you can see it in the video. He has beautiful green fangs, or chelicera. Let's see. And again, he might be a little nervous because of the bright lights and stuff. We'll see if he decides to go for the cricket. I may have to put the lid back on too. All right, you're going to be difficult, but we can still watch from this side to see if he decides to go for it. Yeah, he's going to be camera shy, I think. I'll set him aside, and if I see him eating, we'll come back to him. All right, one last one. I bet you this guy will eat. And then I will take some questions. However, this guy looked like he was going to think about it. Oh, you missed. You missed. All right, we'll come back if need be. All right, last one. Are you hungry? 3, 2, 1, cricket. Oh, there we go. That's our Brazilian white knee. All right, so I'm going to review, see if there's any questions I missed. If you have any last-minute questions, you're welcome to ask them now. Terry Reeves, thanks for tuning in all the way from Tennessee. I know we have somebody tuning in from Ontario, Canada today as well. We appreciate that. How many crickets would a tarantula eat every day? Rita, that's a great question. So we usually feed our animals about once a week, and they get around 2 crickets or so once a week. Sometimes they may get fed 1 cricket twice a week. If they're looking a little skinny, maybe we give them an extra cricket. Show you, he did finally catch that cricket. He is holding on. Looks like we might be back. Sorry if I missed you guys for a little bit. Looks like our connection is a little jumpy today. I apologize for that. Somebody asked, do jumping spiders bite? They can bite people, but they usually don't. And if they did, it wouldn't be anything to worry about. I've never been bit by one, but I know one person that's been bit once. But he said, some of our cool animals from here behind the scenes. Stay tuned. We will be doing more exciting things next week. Look for our special announcement about our exciting snack chat for next week. But until then, everybody out there, please stay safe, wash your hands, and I can't wait to see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later. Take care from the Butterfly House. Goodbye.